Good morning, students. This is Sisir Saurabh, teacher in USCD TAB Public School, Maharajganj. In the previous class, we discussed about two types of chemical reaction. That is, one is a combination reaction, another is your decomposition reaction. In this class, we are going to study the other types of chemical reactions. So let us move on to the topic. So the first type of chemical reaction is your displacement reaction. So what are these called displacement reaction? Those chemical reactions in which reactive metal or say element displaces less reactive metal or element from its aqueous solution of salt on in its molten form, that is known as your displacement reaction. So what happen when a reactive metal react with less reactive metal salt which is in aqueous solution, it will displace from its aqueous solution. As you can see from the equation that A is your reactive metal and Bc is the compound of less reactive metal. Okay, so when it is dissolved, it will form a solution that is aqueous. Now when they are react together, it will form AC, that is the compound of A and C, and along with liberation of the less reactive metal in solid form. So as you can see here, the reactive metal is in solid form and here the compound is in aqueous form. Now again the reactive metal form the aqueous solution. Now less reactive metal will escape out in the form of solid form. So this kind of reaction is known as displacement reaction. Now what are called then reactive elements or metals? So those metals which lies above in the reactivity series, or you can say activity series, they are called reactive metals. Now the problem arises, what are called then reactivity series? So reactivity series means a series of metal which are arranged by the reactivity from their highest to lowest is known as reactivity series. So what happened here, the metals are arranged in such a way that the most reactive element is at the top and the least reactive metal is at the bottom. So let us see how it will look like. So this is your reactivity series. Here, as you can see from the top, the potassium is the most reactive metal and platinum is the least reactive metal. And here is an arrow from top to bottom. It indicates that the reactivity of the metal will decreases down the group. Okay, so while doing this question related to displacement reaction, we will take into account this reactivity series. Now let us do some questions related to displacement reaction. So here you can see the zinc metal which is in solid state, it will react with copper sulfate solution which is a blue color solution and it will react together. It will form zinc sulfate and the copper will be liberated in the solid state. Why? Because as you can see from the reactivity series, the copper will lies below the reactivity series and zinc will lies above the reactivity series. That means zinc is more reactive than copper, so copper can replace zinc can replace copper from its aqueous solution. So in the same way, iron react with copper sulfate which is a blue color solution. When it will react, it will form ferrous sulfate which is in light green color along with liberation of copper metal. Now as you can see, the iron and copper compare it in reactivity series. You will see that the iron lies above the copper in the reactivity series. So iron is more reactive than copper. So that's why it will replace copper from its salt solution. Again you see lead and copper. So again as you can from the reactivity series we can know that the lead lies above the copper. So copper can replace lead can replace copper from its salt solution along with liberation of copper metal. Now as you can see, there is always change in color of the solution, and the color of the solution in most of the cases is the indicator that there is a displacement reaction going on. Now in all the cases as you can see, copper is displaced. Now take the copper with silver nitrate. Now if you compare these two, you will see that copper is above the reactivity series and silver is below the reactivity series. Means as compared to silver, copper is more reactive, so it will displace silver from its aqueous solution. So the color changes from colorless to blue due to formation of copper nitrate, and here the silver will be precipitated in the form of metals. Now let us come to the next type of chemical reaction, that is known as double displacement reaction. So what are these called then? Double displacement reactions. Those reactions in which new compounds are formed by mutual exchange of ions between two compounds which are in aqueous state. They are known as double displacement reaction. The one condition behind this reaction is the two compound must be in aqueous state. What do you mean by the aqueous state? The compound which is soluble in water. So whatever the reaction is here, they must be soluble in water. So when an aqueous solution of barium chloride is added to sodium sulfate, there is a formation of barium sulfate compound along with a formation of NaCl. Among these you can see barium, sodium sulfate and NaCl, they are in aqueous state. This is in solid state. Okay, and there is an arrow downward. This arrow indicates that this kind of reaction is known as precipitation reaction, and the compound commonly is known as precipitate. Again you see that second example. As you can see, potassium iodide react with lead nitrate. You will see there is a formation of compound called lead iodide plus potassium nitrate. So here again you can see two or three are in aqueous state and another is in solid state, and here as you can see there is change in color. Here the color is yellow color, solid, or say yellow PPT. In third case you can see NaCl and AgNO3, it is an aqueous state. KNO3 is also aqueous state, so no color. And when there is a formation of solid substance, you will see there is change in color where it is white precipitate. And as I have already indicated before, that this symbol is there, this downward arrow symbol indicates the reaction undergo precipitation, or the compound is precipitated at the bottom. Okay, now let us come on to the next topic related to this double displacement reaction. Here as you can see, the topic related to double displacement reaction is your precipitation reaction. So what do you mean by then precipitation reaction? It is a special kind of reaction in which a insoluble solid is formed during a reaction between two aqueous solution. Okay, and this reaction is also found in displacement reaction. So precipitation reaction is different, but it is very much similar to your double displacement reaction. So here you can see an example. In case of lime water test, calcium hydroxide, which is your lime water, when react with carbon dioxide, it will produce calcium carbonate, which is in solid state, and we have a production of water, which is in liquid state. Here calcium chloride is a precipitate. Okay, now take another example, sodium hydroxide, which is again aqueous state, magnesium chloride, both are in aqueous state. When they will mix together, you will get a precipitate of magnesium hydroxide, which is white precipitate, along with 2NaCl, which is in aqueous state. So it will not impart any color. So but you can see from a precipitation reaction or from the double displacement reaction, there is always formation of what? Insoluble compound. Okay, now let us move on to the next topic, that is your oxidation and reduction. So what are called an oxidation? The addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen from a substance is called oxidation reaction. Take the first example. When copper is added to oxygen, it will form a compound, black color compound called copper oxide. So this is an example of oxidation reaction. Why? Because there is an addition of oxygen according to the definition. Now the second definition says that removal of hydrogen. So you can see methane when burns in oxygen, okay, it will produce carbon dioxide and water. But you can see carbon contain here hydrogen, here carbon it will contain oxygen. So there is removal of hydrogen. So it is also an example of oxidation reaction. Now let us move on to the next type of reaction, that is your reduction reaction. So what do you mean by then reduction reaction? The addition of hydrogen and removal of oxygen from a substance is called reduction reaction. As you can see from the example, copper oxide, which is in solid state, when it is heated along with hydrogen, means here the hydrogen is added, it will form copper and water, which in gaseous state. So what happened? We are adding here hydrogen. So since the addition of hydrogen is there, it is a reduction reaction. Now you can see in the second case, we have a compound called zinc oxide when it is added with carbon. So you will find the product, that is zinc plus carbon monoxide. So you can see clearly here the oxygen is present, here the oxygen is absent, means there is removal of oxygen. So this is also an example of reduction reaction. So since we have read these topics, let us do some questions related to this, and please do it in your homework notebook.